Hello, I'm Scott Wright and I serve as Decatur's city manager, and it's my pleasure every week to tell you a little bit about what's going on with your city government. For the last several weeks I've talked less about COVID because I want to share more information about the regular operations of city government, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we still strongly believe that getting the vaccination is the best defense against getting COVID. Just in the last 2 weeks there have been 32 additional COVID cases reported here in Macon County, and most of the new cases, not just here in central Illinois but across the United States, are among those individuals who are not vaccinated. So it remains an individual choice, but we hope that you will choose to get vaccinated because of how that improves the overall numbers moving forward. Here at the city, it's being announced today that sadly, that Chief Getz has decided to resign from his position as the Decatur Police Chief. He's going to be taking a position in a non-traditional law enforcement role. We're sorry to be losing him to the important position of police chief, especially at this time, in part because he was very effective, brought a lot of professionalism to the department, and reached out to certain elements in the community that sometimes had been resistant to the police or perhaps simply hadn't cooperated as closely with them. And that kind of leadership that we were fortunate to have is important, especially at a time when it seems that the community can be divided so easily over issues of COVID and how COVID should be treated, over issues of race, over issues of whether or not there should be marijuana sales, over issues of whether or not we should continue to make our streets safe in a period of growing national lawlessness. At the last 2 city council meetings, we've been fortunate to have several women who are spouses of some of our police department officers come and talk about the importance of continuing to support the police department. The mayor and city council have for many months been very supportive publicly as well as fiscally and in terms of providing the equipment that the police department needs. But we're fortunate to have another voice added to those who are already speaking about the importance of not only having law enforcement and not turning our streets back to criminality as is happening in some other central Illinois communities, but also supporting the people who do that every day. I'd also like to mention a little bit about the street projects that are coming up. Every year, the City Council approves a multi-year capital improvement plan to improve and replace streets and bridges and other expensive infrastructure here in the city of Decatur. And they did some more of that last night. There's always a concrete section, there's an asphalt section, there's a bridge section, and the council acts on these separately during the course of the year. But some projects that they approved last night that you'll see coming up will be asphalting of Jasper Street between Cantrell and Lakeshore Drive, Jasper Street between Wood and El Dorado, Airport Road from just north of US 36 to south of Beacon Drive, which is still south of the location of the fire station number 7. City Council authorized as well work to happen later on several bridges in the city, some of which has already started: the West Center Street Bridge, the Meadowlark Bridge, the bridge on the Garfield that carries Garfield traffic over 22nd Street, and the Grove Street Bridge. The largest project as a part of this Rebuild Illinois project is to redo Country Club Road from north of the airport, right about Nolan Drive, all the way north to Illinois Route 105. So these are projects that you'll see taking shape during the rest of the calendar year. One of the other topics that the City Council has been discussing is the importance of broadband. Both the current administration and the previous one and the administration of the state of Illinois have made additional broadband a key policy priority. It wasn't that many years ago that having broadband might have been considered an amenity or a luxury, and increasingly having access to good broadband is just as important, almost like a utility, almost as important as having good water, sewer, and power. And so we are approaching it that way as well, and because of all the funding that's being made available through the state and federal governments, we know that if Decatur doesn't jump on the bandwagon and expand the existing broadband that it already has, then it could be that we are left behind. Decatur is actually fortunate because for the last several years, the city has invested in its own broadband network, something that not every city has. Now, that broadband network wasn't intended to service residences. It's primarily focused on not-for-profits and commercial and industrial entities. But increasingly, we are expanding that and adding new customers. In fact, the city added an additional customer at their city council meeting on Tuesday night. So looking forward, we plan to be spending several $1 million, both on initiatives of the city as well as in cooperation with the Decatur Public Schools to expand that broadband network and work with other partners who can assist us in reaching some of our smart city objectives sooner rather than later. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. I want to encourage you to forward or email this video to others in the community that might be interested in it so that they know that every week we're going to give you an update on what's going on from the city of Decatur.